Chapter 1. The coffee pot trembled slightly in her hands. She turned to find Arthur Sterling staring at her, his usually calm eyes dark with something she couldn't quite place. Regret, gratitude. Maybe both. "What did you just say?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Arthur exhaled, running a hand through his thinning, gray hair. "You don't know what you've done, Olivia. You saved a man who's been running from his own life for years." Her stomach twisted. Running from what? Arthur hesitated, then leaned in, lowering his voice. "If I tell you, you might wish you never met me." In the bustling heart of Chicago, where the aroma of freshly baked deep-dish pizza mingled with the crisp air blowing off Lake Michigan, lived a man named Arthur Sterling. At 55, Arthur was a billionaire, though you'd never guess it by looking at him. His gray hair was perpetually disheveled, and his wardrobe consisted of faded blue jeans, plain white t-shirts, and a worn leather jacket he'd had for decades. He drove a beat-up Honda Civic, lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment in Lincoln Park, and actively avoided the glitzy lifestyle most associated with his wealth. Arthur was the founder of a tech empire, Sterling Innovations. But he'd stepped away from the spotlight years ago, leaving the company in the hands of trusted executives. To the world, he was just another middle-aged guy trying to get by, kind, unassuming, and perpetually lost in thought. On a blustery Thursday morning in October 2025, Arthur felt an unusual pang of hunger. He decided to visit a small diner called Millie's, tucked away on a quiet side street in River North. The diner was a cozy spot with checkered floors, red vinyl booths, and the faint hum of classic blues playing on a radio. Arthur liked it there. No one bothered him, and the food was simple just like him. As he pushed open the glass door, the bell above jingled, announcing his arrival. A young waitress named Olivia Bennett greeted him with a warm smile. Olivia was in her late 20s, with dark brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and bright, intelligent green eyes. She wore a slightly stained blue apron over her uniform, and her comfortable sneakers made barely a sound as she approached. "Welcome to Millie's," she said cheerfully, handing him a laminated menu. "Take a seat wherever you like. I'll be right with you." Arthur nodded, offering a quiet "thank you" before settling into a booth near the window. He watched the wind whip through the trees outside as Olivia bustled around, refilling coffee for a construction worker at the counter and chatting with a young couple in the corner. There was something about her energy, genuine, unforced, that made Arthur feel at ease. When Olivia returned, she pulled a notepad from her apron pocket. "What can I get started for you?" "Just a patty melt and a coffee black," Arthur said, his voice soft but steady. "Coming right up," Olivia replied with a friendly nod, then disappeared into the kitchen. Arthur leaned back, letting the hum of the diner wash over him. He liked these moments of anonymity, where no one knew he could buy the entire block if he wanted to. But today something felt off. A dull ache pulsed behind his eyes, and his hands trembled slightly as he unfolded a napkin. He brushed it off, probably just fatigue from a sleepless night spent wrestling with code for a small open-source project he was working on in his spare time. 10 minutes later, Olivia returned with a steaming plate and a mug of coffee. "Here you go," she said, setting the meal down. "Enjoy." Arthur managed a faint smile. "Appreciate it." She nodded and moved on to another table, leaving him to his thoughts. He took a bite of the patty melt, savoring the simple comfort of it. But the ache in his head grew sharper, his vision blurred at the edges, and a cold sweat broke out across his forehead. He set the patty melt down, gripping the edge of the table to steady himself. Olivia, wiping down the counter, glanced over and noticed his slumped posture. Frowning, she walked back to his booth. "Hey, you okay? You don't look so good." Arthur tried to respond, but his tongue felt heavy. He opened his mouth, only to close it again, his breath shallow. Before Olivia could say another word, his eyes rolled back, and he slid out of the booth, collapsing onto the floor with a dull thud. "Oh my God!" Olivia gasped, dropping her rag. She knelt beside him, shaking his shoulder. "Sir, can you hear me?" No response. His face was pale, his chest barely rising. Panic surged through her, but she forced herself to stay calm. She grabbed a glass of water from the table and tried to trickle it into his mouth, but it just dribbled down his chin. "Come on, wake up," she muttered, splashing some on his face. Still nothing. "Somebody call 911, she shouted, her voice cutting through the diner's chatter. A few patrons fumbled for their phones as Olivia stayed by Arthur's side, her hands trembling. Within minutes, the wail of sirens pierced the air and paramedics burst through the door. They loaded Arthur onto a stretcher, and Olivia, without a second thought, grabbed her coat and followed them out. "I'm coming with him," she told the paramedics, her tone leaving no room for argument. They didn't protest. At Northwestern Memorial Hospital, chaos reigned. Doctors barked orders as Arthur was wheeled into the ER, his condition deteriorating fast. Olivia hovered near the waiting area, chewing her nails, her apron still tied around her waist. She didn't know this man, but something about his quiet demeanor had stuck with her. She couldn't just leave. A doctor approached her, his expression grim. "Are you family?" "No," Olivia admitted. "I'm just the waitress who found him. Is he going to be okay? He's lost a lot of blood. Internal bleeding. Looks like a ruptured ulcer. We need a transfusion, and we're short on his type." "O negative, universal donor. Any chance you—" "I'm O negative," Olivia blurted out, rolling up her sleeve. "Take it." The doctor hesitated, then nodded. "All right, come with me." An hour later, after donating blood and pacing the sterile halls, Olivia sat by Arthur's bedside in the ICU. He was still unconscious, hooked up to machines that beeped rhythmically. She didn't know why she stayed. Maybe it was the adrenaline, or maybe it was the nagging feeling that he had no one else. When the doctor returned, he gave her a tired smile. "He's stable now. Your blood saved his life. He's out of the woods, but he'll need rest." Olivia exhaled, relief washing over her. "Good. That's good. There's one more thing," the doctor added. "The hospital bill. It's been a rough day, and I hate to ask, but he didn't have any ID on him. We don't know who to bill." Olivia glanced at Arthur, his weathered face peaceful in sleep. She thought of her meager savings, barely enough to cover rent. But she couldn't let this fall on him, not after everything. "I'll take care of it," she said quietly. The doctor raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "Yeah. Just don't tell him, okay?" With that, Olivia paid the bill, nearly $12,000, wiping out her savings. She left the hospital without looking back, the cold wind biting at her face as she walked home. The L train rumbled overhead, a lonely soundtrack to her selfless act. Chapter 2. 2 days later, Arthur woke up in a sterile white room. The steady beep of a monitor pulled him back to reality. His head throbbed, but he was alive. He turned to the doctor, standing nearby, a wiry man with a clipboard. "What happened?" Arthur croaked. "You collapsed in a diner," the doctor explained. "Ruptured ulcer. You're lucky someone got you here in time." "Who?" Arthur asked, frowning. The doctor hesitated, then said, "A waitress from Millie's. She rode with you in the ambulance. Donated blood to keep you alive, and, well, she paid your bill too. Didn't want you to know, but I figured you'd ask." Arthur's jaw dropped. "She what? Saved my life? That's what it looks like," the doctor said with a shrug. "You've got a guardian angel out there, mister." He paused, looking at the blank space on his clipboard. "Sterling," Arthur supplied. "Arthur Sterling." The doctor didn't react, which was exactly how Arthur liked it. Arthur lay back, stunned. A waitress, a stranger, had gone above and beyond for him, a man she didn't even know, and paid his bill. He couldn't wrap his head around it. As the fog of medication lifted, a resolve settled in his chest. He had to find her. He spent the next few days recovering in the hospital, his mind consumed by thoughts of Olivia. He tried to piece together what he remembered of her warm smile, her kind eyes, the way she'd rushed to his aid without hesitation. He knew he had to repay her, not just financially, but with genuine gratitude and a willingness to understand why she'd acted so selflessly. The hospital staff was discreet, respecting his privacy and not prying into his personal life. He appreciated that. He used the hospital phone to make a few calls, ensuring that Sterling Innovations was running smoothly in his absence. He didn't mention his illness to anyone. wanting to avoid the inevitable media frenzy that would ensue if word got out that the reclusive billionaire was in the hospital. A week later, feeling stronger but still a little weak, Arthur returned to Millie's. The bell jingled as he stepped inside, his worn leather jacket slightly damp from the drizzle outside. Olivia was behind the counter, wiping it down with a cloth. When she saw him, her face lit up. "Hey, you're back," she said, hurrying over. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Arthur replied, his voice warm. "Thanks to you, Emily." "Much better." Olivia blushed, waving off. "Oh, it was nothing. Just glad you're okay." "No," Arthur said firmly, stepping closer. "It wasn't nothing. You saved my life, gave your own blood, paid my bills. I don't even know how to thank you." Her eyes widened. "You weren't supposed to know about that." "Well, I do," he said with a small smile. "And I owe you an explanation." Olivia tilted her head, curious. "An explanation?" "My name's Arthur Sterling," he began, watching her closely. Well, I'm a billionaire. Built a tech company years ago. I don't flaunt it. Hate the attention. But I've got more money than I'll ever need, and what you did is the kindest thing anyone's ever done for me." Olivia's mouth fell open. "You're a billionaire?" "Like the Arthur Sterling." He chuckled, feeling a little guilty. She laughed, a mix of disbelief and amusement. "Well, you sure don't dress like one." "That's the idea," he said, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out an envelope and handed it to her. "This is for you." Olivia opened it, her breath catching. Inside was a check for $150,000. Not $1,000, not $5,000, as she might have expected, but a life-changing sum. "Arthur, I can't," she stammered, pushing the envelope back toward him. "You can," he interrupted, gently pushing it back. "And you will. You didn't hesitate to help me when I was just a stranger. This isn't charity, Olivia. It's gratitude." Tears welled in her eyes as she clutched the check. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll keep being kind," Arthur replied, his voice sincere. "The world needs more people like you." Olivia nodded, wiping her cheek. "I will. Thank you, Arthur." He tipped his head, then turned to leave. But as he reached the door, he paused, glancing back. "Oh, and Olivia, next time I'm here, the patty melts on me." She laughed, and, for the first time in years, Arthur felt something shift inside him. A spark of connection he hadn't known he'd been missing. As he stepped into the rain, he knew this wasn't the end of their story. It was just the beginning. Chapter 3. Olivia stared at the check in her hand, her mind racing. $150,000. It was more money than she'd ever dreamed of having. She could pay off her student loans, help her mom with her medical bills, maybe even put a down payment on a small apartment. But the thought of accepting such a large sum from Arthur felt wrong. She wasn't a charity case. She'd helped him because it was the right thing to do, not because she expected anything in return. She clutched the check tighter, her knuckles white. She needed to talk to someone who could offer her unbiased advice. Her best friend, Sarah, was the obvious choice. Sarah worked as a librarian at the Harold Washington Library Center, a job she loved. She was practical, intelligent, and always had a level-headed perspective on things. Olivia knew Sarah wouldn't sugarcoat anything. She'd give her the honest truth, even if it wasn't what she wanted to hear. After her shift at Millie's, Olivia walked to the library, the check safely tucked away in her purse. The library was a sanctuary, a place of quiet contemplation and endless knowledge. Olivia often came here to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. She found Sarah at her usual desk, surrounded by stacks of books. Sarah's face lit up when she saw Olivia. "Hey, what brings you here?" she asked, pushing aside a pile of research papers. "I need to talk to you about something," Olivia said, her voice low. "Can we grab a coffee?" They walked to a nearby cafe and ordered 2 lattes. Olivia nervously stirred her coffee as she explained the events of the past week. From Arthur's collapse to his unexpected return and the generous check he'd given her. Sarah listened intently, her expression a mixture of shock and concern. When Olivia finished, Sarah took a deep breath. "Wow," she said, "that's a lot to take in. So, let me get this straight. Pretty much, Olivia replied, feeling overwhelmed. And you're not sure what to do? Sarah asked. Exactly. I feel guilty even thinking about keeping it. It's like I'm profiting off someone else's misfortune. Sarah leaned forward, her eyes earnest. Olivia, you're not profiting off anything. You acted out of the goodness of your heart. You saved his life, and he's expressing his gratitude in a way that he can. He clearly has more money than he knows what to do with. Why shouldn't he share it with someone who deserves it? But it feels wrong, Olivia insisted. Like I'm taking advantage of him. You're not taking advantage of him, Sarah said firmly. He's a grown man. He made the decision to give you that check. He obviously feels indebted to you, and this is his way of resolving that. You need to stop feeling guilty and start thinking about what you could do with that money. You could change your life. Olivia sighed. I know. It's just hard to wrap my head around. What would you do if you were me? Sarah thought for a moment. If I were you, I'd sit down and make a list of all the things I could do with that money. Pay off debt, invest in my future, help my family. Then, I decide what's most important to me and prioritize accordingly. And I definitely wouldn't feel guilty about it. Olivia nodded, feeling a little more grounded. Okay, I'll try. Thanks, Sarah. I really needed to hear that. Anytime, Sarah said, squeezing her hand. That's what friends are for. Just promise me you won't let this money change who you are. You're a good person, Olivia. Don't let wealth corrupt you. I promise, Olivia said, smiling. I'll still be the same old Olivia, just with a slightly larger bank account. As Olivia walked home, she thought about Sarah's advice. She knew she couldn't just dismiss Arthur's generosity. She needed to consider her options and make a responsible decision. She decided to take Sarah's suggestion and make a list of her priorities. Maybe then she could finally decide what to do with the check. That night, she sat at her kitchen table, a notepad and pen in front of her. She started writing, her thoughts flowing onto the page. Pay off student loans, $30,000. Help mom with medical bills, $20,000. Down payment on an apartment, $50,000. $10,000. Donate to charity, $5,000. Set aside for emergencies, $15,000. The numbers added up to $150,000, exactly the amount of the check. It was like a sign. She could actually do all of this. She could finally achieve financial stability and security. But as she looked at the list, she realized something was missing, something that was more important to her than money. She added one more item to the list: start a small business. Olivia had always dreamed of opening her own bakery. She loved to bake, and she had a knack for creating delicious and unique treats. She envisioned a small, cozy bakery in her neighborhood, where people could come to relax, enjoy a cup of coffee, and indulge in her homemade pastries. But she'd always dismissed the idea as unrealistic. Starting a business required a lot of money, time, and effort, things she didn't have. But now, with Arthur's check, her dream suddenly seemed within reach. She spent the rest of the night researching small business loans, writing a business plan, and sketching out designs for her dream bakery. The more she planned, the more excited she became. This wasn't just about money. It was about pursuing her passion and creating something meaningful. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to make it work. She had a second chance, thanks to Arthur's generosity, and she wasn't going to waste it. Chapter 4. The next morning, Olivia arrived at Millie's with a newfound sense of purpose. She was no longer just a waitress. She was a future business owner. She couldn't wait to tell Arthur about her plans. When Arthur walked in later that day, Olivia greeted him with an even brighter smile than usual. Hey, welcome back, she said. I have something I want to talk to you about. Arthur smiled. I was hoping you would. I've been doing some thinking myself. They sat down at a booth, and Olivia took a deep breath. I've decided what I'm going to do with the check, she said. I'm going to use it to start my own bakery. Arthur's eyes lit up. That's wonderful, Olivia. I always knew you had something special about you. What kind of bakery? I want to open a small, cozy bakery in the neighborhood, she explained, her voice filled with enthusiasm. I'll serve coffee, tea, and all kinds of homemade pastries. I've always loved to bake, and I think people would really enjoy my creations. I have no doubt they will, Arthur said, his voice sincere. I'm happy to invest if you allow it. Olivia paused, considering his offer. On one hand, more capital would be incredibly helpful in getting her business off the ground. On the other hand, she was wary of becoming too indebted to Arthur. She wanted to be independent and prove that she could succeed on her own. "Thank you, Arthur," she said. "I'm really flattered, but I think I want to try to do this on my own. I want to prove to myself that I can do it." Arthur nodded, understanding her desire for independence. "I respect that, Olivia. But please, don't hesitate to ask if you need anything. I'm happy to offer advice or connect you with people who can help." "I appreciate that," Olivia said. "I might take you up on that offer sometime." Arthur smiled. "So, tell me more about your plans. Where do you want to open your bakery? What kind of pastries will you serve?" Olivia spent the next hour sharing her vision with Arthur, describing every detail of her dream bakery. She talked about the cozy atmosphere she wanted to create, the delicious and unique pastries she planned to bake, and the sense of community she hoped to foster. Arthur listened intently, his eyes filled with admiration. He was impressed by her passion, her creativity, and her determination. He knew she had what it took to succeed. As they talked, Arthur shared some of his own experiences in starting a business, offering valuable advice and insights. He told her about the challenges he faced, the mistakes he made, and the lessons he learned. Olivia listened carefully, soaking up every word. She realized that Arthur was more than just a wealthy benefactor. He was a mentor, a friend, and a source of inspiration. As the day went on, Arthur found himself drawn to Olivia's energy and enthusiasm. He realized that he hadn't felt this alive or this engaged in years. He'd been so focused on his own work and his own problems that he'd forgotten what it was like to connect with someone on a deeper level. He began to see Olivia as more than just a waitress who had saved his life. He saw her as a talented, compassionate, and inspiring woman. He admired her courage, her resilience, and her unwavering belief in herself. He knew that he wanted to be a part of her journey, not just as a financial supporter, but as a friend and a mentor. He wanted to help her achieve her dreams and watch her succeed. As the day drew to a close, Arthur knew that his life had changed forever. He'd found a new purpose, a new passion, and a new connection with someone who truly understood him. He was grateful for Olivia's presence in his life, and he was excited to see what the future held. Chapter 5. Over the next few weeks, Olivia threw herself into planning her bakery. She researched locations, secured a small business loan, in addition to Arthur's check, and started working on her menu. She spent hours experimenting with new recipes, perfecting her signature pastries, and creating a unique and inviting atmosphere for her bakery. She found a vacant storefront in an up-and-coming neighborhood that was perfect for her needs. The space was small but charming, with large windows, exposed brick walls, and plenty of natural light. It was exactly what she had envisioned. She hired a contractor to renovate the space, installing new flooring, painting the walls, and adding a custom-built display case. She also started collecting vintage furniture and decor, creating a cozy and inviting atmosphere. Arthur was incredibly supportive throughout the process. He offered advice, connected her with local suppliers, and even helped her negotiate a lease agreement with the landlord. He became her trusted advisor, her confidant, and her biggest cheerleader. As the opening date drew closer, Olivia felt a mix of excitement and nerves. She was confident in her abilities, but she couldn't shake the fear that she might fail. She worried about attracting customers, managing her finances, and dealing with the inevitable challenges that came with running a business. Arthur sensed her anxiety and offered words of encouragement. "You've got this, Olivia," he said. "You're talented, passionate, and determined. Don't let fear hold you back. Just believe in yourself, and everything will fall into place." His words gave her the strength she needed to push forward. She reminded herself why she was doing this, to pursue her passion, to create something meaningful, and to share her creations with the world. Finally, the day arrived. The grand opening of Olivia's Sweet Treats. Olivia woke up early that morning, her heart pounding with excitement. She got dressed, put on her apron, and headed to the bakery. She spent the morning setting up the display case, brewing coffee, and preparing for the arrival of her first customers. As the clock ticked closer to the opening time, a crowd began to gather outside the bakery. Olivia peeked through the window, her stomach fluttering with nerves. She couldn't believe so many people were here to support her. At 10 a.m. sharp, she unlocked the door and welcomed her first customers inside. The bakery was instantly filled with the aroma of freshly baked pastries and the chatter of excited customers. Olivia worked tirelessly, serving coffee, handing out pastries, and chatting with her customers. She was overwhelmed by the positive response. People raved about her pastries, complimented her decor, and praised her for creating such a warm and inviting atmosphere. Arthur arrived later that morning, bearing a bouquet of flowers and a box of chocolates. He surveyed the scene, a proud smile on his face. He watched as Olivia interacted with her customers, her face glowing with happiness. He knew that she had found her calling. "You did it, Olivia," he said, giving her a hug. "You created something truly special." Olivia beamed. "I couldn't have done it without you, Arthur," she said. "Thank you for believing in me." The grand opening was a resounding success. Olivia's sweet treats quickly became a popular destination in the neighborhood, attracting customers from all walks of life. Olivia's pastries were known for their unique flavors, their beautiful presentation, and their irresistible taste. Olivia's dream had come true. She was a successful business owner, a respected member of the community, and a source of inspiration to others. She was living proof that anything is possible if you believe in yourself and never give up on your dreams. Chapter 6. As Olivia's bakery flourished, so did her relationship with Arthur. They spent more and more time together, exploring the city, attending cultural events, and simply enjoying each other's company. Arthur found himself opening up to Olivia in ways he never had before. He shared stories about his childhood, his career, and his past relationships. He revealed his insecurities, his fears, and his hopes for the future. Olivia listened patiently, offering words of comfort and support. She understood his struggles, his triumphs, and his deepest desires. She saw him not as a wealthy billionaire, but as a complex and vulnerable human being. She told Arthur about her own life, her dreams, and her aspirations. She shared her fears about failing, her hopes for the future, and her desire to make a positive impact on the world. Arthur listened intently, offering words of encouragement and admiration. He was inspired by her passion, her compassion, and her unwavering commitment to her values. As they shared their lives with each other, they realized that they had something special. They were drawn to each other's intelligence, their humor, and their shared values. They found solace in each other's company and comfort in each other's arms. One evening, as they were walking along the lakefront, Arthur stopped and turned to Olivia. He took her hands in his and looked into her eyes. "Olivia," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "I've never met anyone like you. You're kind, compassionate, and incredibly inspiring. You've brought so much joy and happiness into my life. I'm so grateful for you." Olivia's heart fluttered. "Arthur," she said, "you're the most amazing person I've ever met. You're generous, kind, and incredibly supportive. You've helped me achieve my dreams, and you've made me a better person. I'm so grateful for you too." Arthur smiled. "I love you, Olivia," he said. Olivia's eyes widened. "I love you too, Arthur," she said. They embraced, their hearts filled with love and happiness. They knew that they had found something truly special, something that would last a lifetime. Chapter 7. Their relationship blossomed over the next year. Arthur continued to support Olivia and her bakery, often stopping by to enjoy a pastry and chat with the customers. Olivia, in turn, helped Arthur reconnect with his own passions, encouraging him to pursue his philanthropic endeavors and to use his wealth to make a positive impact on the world. Arthur began volunteering at a local homeless shelter, using his tech skills to develop a new system for tracking resources and managing volunteers. He also donated a significant amount of money to a local organization that provided educational opportunities for underprivileged children. Olivia was proud of Arthur's commitment to giving back, and she often joined him in his volunteer work. Together, they made a positive impact on the community, inspiring others to get involved and make a difference. One sunny afternoon, Arthur surprised Olivia with a picnic in Millennium Park. They spread out a blanket near the Cloud Gate sculpture, the Bean, and enjoyed a delicious lunch of sandwiches, salads, and, of course, pastries from Olivia's bakery. As they ate, Arthur reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. Olivia gasped, her eyes filling with tears. "Olivia Bennet," Arthur said, his voice trembling with emotion. "Will you marry me?" Olivia nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, Arthur Sterling," she said. "I will marry you." Arthur slipped the ring on her finger, and they embraced, their hearts overflowing with love and happiness. They were engaged. Chapter 8. The news of their engagement spread quickly through the community. Everyone was thrilled for Arthur and Olivia, wishing them a lifetime of happiness together. Olivia's friends and family were overjoyed. Her mother, who had initially been skeptical of Arthur's wealth and social status, had come to see him as a kind and generous man who truly loved her daughter. Arthur's colleagues at Sterling Innovations were also delighted by the news. They had always admired Arthur's business acumen, but they had rarely seen him so happy. They knew that Olivia had brought out the best in him. Olivia and Arthur decided to have a small, intimate wedding ceremony at the Chicago Cultural Center, surrounded by their closest friends and family. Olivia designed her own wedding cake, a beautiful masterpiece adorned with edible flowers and intricate details. On their wedding day, Olivia walked down the aisle in a simple but elegant white dress, her face radiant with joy. Arthur stood at the altar, his eyes filled with love and admiration. They exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish each other for the rest of their lives. They sealed their commitment with a kiss, and the crowd erupted in applause. After the ceremony, they celebrated with a delicious dinner and dancing. Olivia and Arthur were surrounded by love and happiness, their hearts full of gratitude for the beautiful life they had created together. Chapter 9. As they embarked on their married life, Olivia and Arthur continued to support each other's dreams and aspirations. Olivia expanded her bakery, opening a second location in a nearby neighborhood. Arthur continued his philanthropic work, donating millions of dollars to various charitable organizations. They traveled the world together, exploring new cultures, trying new foods, and creating unforgettable memories. They visited exotic locations, volunteered in underprivileged communities, and attended cultural events. They also spent time at home, enjoying simple pleasures like cooking together, reading books, and watching movies. They cherished their quiet moments together, knowing that their love was a precious gift. One evening, as they were sitting on their porch, watching the sunset over Lake Michigan, Olivia turned to Arthur and smiled. "I'm so happy, Arthur," she said. "I never thought I could find so much love and happiness." Arthur took her hand and squeezed it gently. "Me neither, Olivia," he said. "You've changed my life in so many ways. You've shown me what it means to love and be loved." They sat in silence for a moment, content in each other's presence. They knew that they had found their soulmates, and they were grateful for every moment they shared together. Their story was a testament to the power of kindness, compassion, and love. It was a reminder that even the most unexpected encounters can lead to extraordinary things. And it was a celebration of the human spirit, its capacity for goodness, and its ability to overcome any obstacle. Chapter 10. Years passed, filled with joy, challenges, and the quiet contentment of a life well lived together. Olivia and Arthur remained deeply in love, their bond strengthened by shared experiences and unwavering support. Olivia's Sweet Treats became a Chicago institution, known not only for its delectable pastries, but also for its commitment to community. Olivia regularly hosted events for local charities, providing baked goods and raising funds for those in need. She also mentored young, aspiring bakers, sharing her knowledge and passion with the next generation. Arthur continued to lead Sterling Innovations with wisdom and integrity. He prioritized ethical practices and sustainable development, ensuring that his company contributed positively to the world. He also dedicated a significant portion of his time and resources to philanthropic endeavors, focusing on education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Their home became a haven, a place where family and friends gathered to celebrate life's milestones and share in the warmth of their love. They hosted countless dinners, parties, and holiday gatherings, creating memories that would last a lifetime. One day, Olivia discovered that she was pregnant. She and Arthur were overjoyed. They had always wanted to start a family. Emily brought even more joy and love into their lives. They cherished every moment with her, watching her grow, learn, and discover the world around her. They taught her the values of kindness, compassion, and generosity, hoping that she would carry on their legacy of making a positive impact on the world. As they watched Emily grow, Olivia and Arthur reflected on their own journey. From their unlikely encounter at Millie's Diner to their fulfilling life together. They were grateful for every twist and turn, every challenge and triumph. They knew that their love story was a testament to the power of fate, the importance of kindness, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. And as they looked into each other's eyes, they knew that their love would continue to grow stronger with each passing day, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who knew them. The secret, even amidst their happiness, a shadow lurked. Arthur had kept a secret from Olivia, a part of his past he had never dared to reveal. He feared that the truth would shatter their love and destroy the life they had built together. This secret revolved around the true nature of Sterling Innovations' early years. While the company had become a force for good under Arthur's later leadership, its initial success had been built on questionable practices and a ruthless pursuit of market dominance. Arthur had made choices he deeply regretted, choices that haunted him even now. He had initially justified these actions as necessary for survival in the cutthroat world of tech. He believed he was building something great, something that would ultimately benefit society. But as Sterling Innovations grew, the pressure to maintain its lead led him down a dark path. He engaged in aggressive tactics to stifle competition, exploited loopholes in regulations, and even turned a blind eye to unethical practices within his company. His decision to step away from the daily operations of Sterling Innovations was, in part, driven by his guilt and disillusionment. He could no longer stomach the compromises he had made. He wanted to atone for his past mistakes and use his wealth to make amends. But the fear of exposure lingered. He worried that if the truth came out, it would tarnish his reputation, damage Sterling Innovations, and, most importantly, hurt Olivia and Emily. He couldn't bear the thought of disappointing them or jeopardizing their happiness. The weight of this secret weighed heavily on him. He often found himself lost in thought, haunted by memories of his past actions. He knew he couldn't keep it hidden forever. He needed to confess, but he didn't know how. He considered telling Olivia on several occasions, but each time, fear held him back. He imagined her reaction, the disappointment, the anger, the sense of betrayal. He couldn't bring himself to risk their happiness. One evening, as they were sitting by the fireplace, Arthur noticed Olivia studying him with a worried expression. "Arthur, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. "You've been so quiet lately. Is everything okay?" Arthur hesitated, his heart pounding in his chest. This was his chance. He knew he couldn't keep the secret any longer. "Olivia," he began, his voice trembling slightly, "there's something I need to tell you. Something about my past that I've never shared with anyone." Olivia took his hand, her eyes filled with love and support. "You can tell me anything, Arthur," she said. "I'm here for you." Arthur took a deep breath and began to recount his past, starting from the early days of Sterling Innovations and the choices he made in his relentless pursuit of success. He spoke of the compromises he had made, the ethical boundaries he had crossed, and the guilt that had haunted him ever since. He spared no details, holding nothing back. He wanted Olivia to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. As he spoke, Olivia listened intently, her expression unwavering. She didn't interrupt, didn't judge, didn't condemn. She simply listened. When he finished, Arthur looked at Olivia, his eyes filled with fear and remorse. He braced himself for her reaction, expecting anger, disappointment, or even rejection. But instead, Olivia reached out and took his hand, her touch gentle and reassuring. "Thank you for telling me, Arthur," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I know that must have been difficult." Arthur was stunned. He had expected a far more negative reaction. Are you not angry?" he asked. Olivia smiled. "Of course I'm a little disappointed," she admitted. "I wish you had told me sooner. But I understand why you kept it a secret. You were afraid of hurting me. But how can you forgive me?" Arthur asked, still struggling to comprehend her reaction. "I did some terrible things. I'm not saying that what you did was right," Olivia said. "But I also know that people make mistakes. And I believe that you've atoned for those mistakes. You've used your wealth and influence to make a positive impact on the world. You've become a better person. But will this change how you see me?" Arthur asked, his voice filled with anxiety. Olivia shook her head. "No, Arthur," she said. "It doesn't change how I see you. It doesn't change how I feel about you. I love you for who you are today, not for who you were in the past. And I believe that we can overcome this together." Arthur was overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. He had confessed his deepest secret, and Olivia had not only forgiven him, but had also reaffirmed her love and commitment. "Thank you, Olivia," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You're the most amazing woman I've ever met. I don't deserve you." Olivia smiled. "Yes, you do," she said. "And I love you too." They embraced, their love strengthened by honesty and forgiveness. Arthur knew that their relationship had just reached a new level of depth and understanding. From that day forward, Arthur and Olivia were even closer than before. They shared everything with each other, supporting each other through thick and thin. They faced challenges together, celebrated triumphs together, and grew together. Arthur continued his philanthropic work, inspired by Olivia's unwavering commitment to helping others. He used his wealth and influence to make a positive impact on the world, striving to create a better future for all. Olivia continued to expand her bakery, creating a thriving business that provided jobs and opportunities for the local community. She also mentored young, aspiring bakers, sharing her knowledge and passion with the next generation. Together, they lived a life filled with love, joy, and purpose. They were a testament to the power of forgiveness, the importance of honesty, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Epilogue. Years later, Arthur and Olivia sat on their porch, watching the sunset over Lake Michigan. They were surrounded by their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, all gathered to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Arthur looked at Olivia, his eyes filled with love and gratitude. He knew that he had been blessed beyond measure. He had found his soulmate, built a beautiful family, and lived a life filled with purpose and meaning. "I love you, Olivia," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for everything." Olivia smiled, her eyes twinkling with love. "I love you too, Arthur," she said, "and thank you for giving me the best life I could have ever imagined." They embraced, their love as strong as ever. They knew that their journey together was not yet over. They had many more years to share, many more memories to create, and many more lives to touch. And as they looked out over the shimmering waters of Lake Michigan, they knew that their love story would continue to inspire generations to come.